Ruby and Neo's fate. Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and today we're gonna talk about what happened with both Neo and Ruby in episode 8 of volume 9. I'm also gonna say this was the most emotionally draining episode I've seen in a really long time. I've felt the same with the previous episode, but this one was even more. I really didn't think they were going to do this to our main character, but they did, and I almost cried. This episode really affected me. It was a really great episode, and if you haven't watched it yet, there will be some spoilers, so with that out of the way, let's get started. Close to the end of this episode, we see Ruby finally accepting defeat. She realized that she doesn't want to be Ruby Rose anymore. She drinks the tea and she ascends. I really didn't think this was going to happen. I really thought her friends were gonna save her before she went this down, but it happened, and I'm still a little bit surprised about it. Again, I almost cried when it happened. Some of the things that led to Ruby accepting defeat was at start the curious cat's manipulation of her, but again there was more than just that. One of the biggest factors to why Ruby chose defeat was all that happened in her fight against Neo. Ruby had to confront what she believed to be her own failures. Ruby blamed herself for everything that had happened to Pyrrha, to Penny, to Ozpin's previous form, and to Ironwood. She blames herself for all of it, and that is one of the big reasons to why Ruby gave up. She was in depression for all that had happened. She was full of trauma. She had a burden too big to bear for her, and when she had to face first a construct of Pyrrha, then a construct of Penny, construct of Ironwood and Ozpin, it was really just too much for her. Ruby has suffered for so long, but it has been most shown in this last volume. Ruby probably blamed herself this entire time, but it was really this bad now after Penny's defeat this last time and the fall of Atlas. And the two final straws is when Neo makes her think that she actually hurt Oscar, and when Neo killed Little. That is the final straw that Ruby couldn't take it anymore. And again, I really didn't see all of this coming. This was an incredibly dark episode. And you might wonder, what about the future for Ruby and more importantly for her team and friends? Well, here's the thing. I don't think Ruby is gonna be gone for really long, but I do believe seeing Ruby ascend is really gonna affect the team, especially Yang. I think Yang is going to be the first to break down crying over this. Ruby is her little sister, and she believes she failed to protect her. John is going to be affected a lot as well, and he's going to blame himself for what happened to Ruby, thinking that if I haven't said those things I said, maybe this wouldn't have happened, he think. But then again, the real person to blame is Neo and the curious cat. So again, they don't blame that much fault for this. They do bear a little bit of responsibility for it, but really it's Neo and the curious cat that really are to blame for it, and they are the ones that have to pay for it. When Ruby enters the tree, I think she can meet one of 4 characters, maybe 3, if one of the theories I heard is correct. And that is either Alex, and I do believe that Alex is Little. Little is Alex after she ascended, and she will either see Alex as Little or see her past self. If she isn't meeting Alex in the tree, then she might see something that takes the form of Summer Rose. Again, I think that one is really unlikely. I don't see that happening, but I can see it as a possibility. The last thing I can see is that Ruby once again meet the blacksmith. And again, the blacksmith is probably a completely separate entity that is working with the tree. And again, I'm not completely sure what they're gonna talk about, but the blacksmith might ask what Ruby Rose wants to become, or if she wants to return to the way she was. And Ruby will maybe start seeing flashbacks of all the good times she had with her friends, even though she has seen a lot of bad things, gone through a lot of bad experiences. She might still remember all the good times, and Ruby might decide to go back the way she is before she ascended. As for Neo's fate, she ended up being possessed by the curious cat. I really thought this was a nice twist to turn. I was convinced that Neo was going to be the main antagonist for this volume of Ruby, but now it's clear that the curious cat is the main antagonist for this volume. Neo was having a time of her life when she tormented Ruby with her old friends, and I really felt that Neo was really sadistic in this episode, so I had lost a lot of sympathy for her. I know she cared a lot about Roman, but again, Roman was a criminal and a villain, and he even admits it, saying that everyone thinks they're the hero of their story, but I always knew what I was, and that is something I think Neo also takes to heart. She is the villain of her own story, I feel like. But even though she won in the end, she got Ruby to drink the tea, she afterward wasn't happy. Killing Ruby was almost the only thing she wanted, and with Ruby now gone, she had nothing, which was what the curious cat needed in the end. He didn't know he needed her, but he said it himself that she was now a much better vessel for him to fill and use as he wanted. And quick shout out to the creators. I really loved how they brought Roman Todrick back for this season. I really loved it. And as for when Neo gets possessed by the curious cat, that was a really great scene. You see how afraid she is when he approaches her, and we can almost see the pain she in when he possesses her. It was a really great moment, a little bit of creepy to my opinion. It was creepy seeing how he go down her throat like that, and how much pain she in, and the smile he has afterward. What the fuck? Now, as for the future of Neo, I'm not so sure that Neo herself has a future now. I believe that most forward will be the curious cat, a much bigger antagonist than what Neo could be. And he may be at part with Salem herself. I'm not sure if he's stronger than Salem or weaker than her. We know he is technically strong, but I don't know if he's immortal or not. But we do know a little bit about his goals. He wants to know everything, but what he wants to know more than everything is that he wants to know why his creators left him just so they could make all of humanity instead. And the curious cat has the potential to be a large villain of the overall story in Ruby. Well, do I believe it will happen? I'm not sure. I think it could be a possibility, an interesting twist, but I also see a possibility that he being stopped in this volume. So again, I don't know. I'm going more depth about the Curious Cat later in a later video. But until then, this is all I have to say about him and Neo for now. And that's it for this video. What do you think the future holds for Ruby and Neo? Do you think Neo will get the Curious Cat out of her? Do you think Ruby will see any of the characters I mentioned earlier? Let me know in the comment section down below. I would like to see you guys again next time!